Well, welcome back, everybody. We've already had a show this morning, and it is a musical day over here at Voxsana podcast. Thank you for joining the show about voice, all things voice, speaking, writing, singing, interconnected, all that good stuff. So, um, my name is Jill, and I'm going to talk to another Jamila today, Jamila Ford. And so, let me tell you a little bit about her. I'm going to mute our very fabulous lo-fi music from Music AI. What? I need to write something. I will next time. I promise. Okay. Alrighty. So if you have questions today, we are cool with that. You can pop them in the chat, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I don't know if it's streaming, but hopefully we're going to get that sorted out. Or also, yeah, I said YouTube already. So that is how you can join us. And that's the point of these live chats too, is so you can ask your burning questions. And I have some fabulous people that have always, they say yes to me without fail. And I'm just so fortunate. So let me tell you about Jamila, if you don't know her already, which you probably do. She has a podcast, the Working Singer podcast. And here's her official bio, and we'll bring her on and we'll just talk all things voice. It's going to be fabulous. Singer, songwriter, and producer Jamila Ford has performed around the world as a solo artist and as a backing vocalist, lending her talent as a support singer to artists such as Leon Bridges, holy moly, Mavis Staples, Seal. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on, to Melody Gardot, Spiritualized, Bonnie Porter, Nick Waterhouse, to name a few. She's independently released 4 studio albums. Her most recent EP, The Deep End, was included in the first round of ballots for 3 Grammys for the Best Jazz Vocal Album, Best New Artist, and Best Engineered Album, and earned rave reviews from critics who hailed her as an exquisite song stylist. I would agree. And proclaimed Ford is ready to take her place among the elite of sophisticated jazz vocalists. Now, don't you just love, doesn't that feel like a warm hug? Oh my goodness. Jamila is also the host of the Working Singer podcast and teaches private voice lessons, classic R&B, and funk and modern R&B classes for vocalists at Los Angeles College of Music in Pasadena, California. Oh my goodness. Okay, so with that, I have to find Jamila. Here she is. Hello, girl.
Hey, how are you?
I'm so great, and we're doing this, and this is so exciting to me because this is a special day. We had Camara on this morning and you on next, and that's actually how I found you, as I was preparing for an interview with Camara, and there you were. So I was like,
Nice.
what? This is fabulous. Oh my goodness. Where I always love starting with guests is their voice story, and that's a huge question. So let's go back to singing, and when you first knew that singing was something very special in your life.
Ooh.
I know. Big one.
You know what? The first thing that comes to mind is being a little kid. Maybe I was 6 or 7, and I remember singing to myself. And I actually thought I was doing sort of a torchy. I was just kind of making up a song, and
Excellent.
and it was kind of a torchy type of thing you'd hear on like White Christmas or something. And I remember thinking, I like the sound of my voice. Like, I sound good. I remember having that thought. So
Right?
funny. But I do think you gotta like the sound of your own voice. Otherwise, no, what are you doing?
We all have that little thought, like, I think that was kind of good.
Yeah.
What's going on? Right?
That kind of rocks. And then as I don't know, as I got older and I had a little more, it sounds like I was confident, but I had to get confident to sing in front of people. And, me and friends would be singing together, and then they would say, oh, you sound really good. And, so that was kind of my confirmation that I possibly sounded as good as I suspected.
Oh, wow.
So, as I got older, I was performing at school because it was a religious private school. And, as is with religion, a lot of it centers around music. A lot of religions center around music at church and everything. So the school would put on church on Wednesdays, and the kids all had to go to church. No, I'm not going to go. But, and we would perform. Somebody would be invited to perform. So I took that as my opportunity to do that. And just kind of went from there. I took lessons with the choir director at the school, and yeah, I had a couple of different teachers through that school, and then I decided I was going to major in music. My mom said, "Please go to college," and I was like,
Yep.
"Well,
Yeah.
if I'm going to do anything, I guess it'll be music in school." Although now I'm kind of wishing I might have done something else, but it's fine.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but I had tons of opportunities to perform. It was
Mhm.
a very busy music department. I pretty much sang all day,
Oh,
and
wow.
there were people to
Amazing.
form bands with, and it was actually a jazz classical centered school, UC Riverside, in
Mhm.
Riverside, California. And we put together jazz ensembles and book gigs, and so I knew how to book myself, and it's so funny. I just had no fear
I love that.
about booking myself, and I started. I made an EP while I was in college, and was writing songs, and just kind of doing it.
Mhm.
I wanted to do it, so I did. It's
Mhm.
funny. So yeah,
That's wonderful, that's wonderful, and so many of us, we put aside those things we wanna do for the things we should be doing, and sometimes they're one and the same, right? And
yeah.
most times they are, because the never-ending for myself, the never-ending cleaning to-do list that trumps singing sometimes, it's not
Mhm.
no, you know what? I'd rather have sang, and I probably coulda kicked butt on that cleaning task list in half the time because I was jacked from singing, or combine the 2. So
Yeah,
I love that you just said it simply, just doing the thing, and,
yeah.
um, yeah, your jazz. Talk to me about jazz for you, 'cause, I mean, we just in your beautiful bio, we talked a lot about the Grammys and the jazz
Mhm.
album. So, was it always jazz for you, or has that been a journey to jazz?
It was a journey because
Mhm,
I didn't really, listen to it. I probably wouldn't have been doing it had it not been for school,
mm,
It was
mhm.
a jazz-centered program, and I learned jazz songs to do the gigs. I remember, a friend of mine who was an upright bass player taught me a bunch of songs, like, in one weekend for a
Nice.
gig that we were doing. And it's funny because I think now, um his singing was funny because his singing was okay. It was okay, but I know it was a little bit pitchy, and that is how I remember the melodies, like this sort of
Uh-huh.
pitchy,
Oh,
anyway, I
wow.
don't know, kind
That's
of
so cute.
kind of wrong melody. But he was very sweet. Yeah, he was very sweet and always very kind, and he hired me for
Yeah.
gigs,
Oh,
and
nice.
um and that's, I got into it there, and I would say that, as I was writing music, it was more jazz influenced.
Mhm, mhm.
But, I'd started off kind of singing R&B, and as a kid listening to the radio, like I'll be dating myself, but Paula Abdul and Janet Jackson
Excellent.
and singers like that were on the radio, Mariah Carey,
Oh, yeah.
um,
That's my
just
jam.
yes, right?
Right?
So heavily into all that. My parents actually, they listened to Nat King Cole, and
Oh, cool.
as I got older, Natalie Cole. She had,
Mhm,
later. I remember when I was in high school, or maybe later than that, she had released her jazz album. She'd been doing pop and R&B before that, I think.
mhm.
And so when I was in college, I performed a lot of her arrangements, her jazz arrangements
Oh, cool.
with the jazz big band. So it's kind of like a mix of a lot of things.
Mhm,
Um, and I like a lot of different kinds of music. And what I'm writing now is probably very far from jazz at
mhm,
this
mhm,
point.
mhm,
Although I think
mhm.
you can just hear the jazz in my voice. It's just I think
Oh,
it's
I bet.
inherent in there.
Yeah.
Um, but my taste has probably strayed pretty far at this point. And I'm actually
Excellent.
kind of veering towards house. That's, house music.
Tell me
So
about this. This is exciting. This is cool. So tell me
yeah.
about your newest music. This is wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I over like the recent years, I'd gotten hired by a lot of house producers to
Mhm.
do vocals for their tracks and stuff. and I thought, what is this thing called house? But I was already actually familiar with it because, back
Mm.
in the day, there was a lot of, CNC Music Factory and
Totally, yes.
a lot of those
Yep.
singers, Martha Wash, Mariah Carey had a lot of house remixes on her
Mhm,
songs. Those were just
mhm.
like so cool. So it was like in the 90s, very much, a thing. I thought I was pretty far removed from it, but I really wasn't. It was on the radio. It was mixed in with everything
Yep.
else, maybe a
Mhm,
more
mhm.
um, maybe a poppier, more sanitized version than one might hear in clubs and things like that. But it definitely made its way into sort of mainstream culture, and you know, um, so with the things that I'm kind of writing now, they're very like disco-y, and um, I just put out a single called Bad Girl,
Mm,
which
mhm.
is which I actually it's very disco, but when I was thinking of it vocally, I was thinking of like Vanity Six and
Excellent.
those kinds of like nasty girls, dance, dance, dance. Like not at all like technically complicated or anything. Because when I was first writing songs, I was like trying to, be, I don't know. I just wanted to write like those power vocal kind of things and
Right?
stuff like that. And
They're fun to sing.
yeah, they're super
Uh-huh,
fun.
uh-huh, the belty
But
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah. But now I'm just like, I'm probably more focused on the writing and storytelling and kind of telling fun stories
Mm, mhm.
um just not so much, I want to say over singing,
Yeah.
because I have had a tendency to do that. It's just a little, so these songs are just like a lot more simple and fun and on the dance side. And I think having had recorded for all of these producers kind of put it in my head like, oh, this is kind of a nice little cool, interesting fit. An interesting turn of events. So
Totally. Don't you know how life you love how life I cannot speak right now. Don't you love how life gives you these little crumbs to the next thing? I
yeah,
find that fascinating, absolutely cool.
yeah,
So you pretty much highlighted my next where I wanna go to. I mean, your podcast is called The Working Singer. You do a lot of different things. You've had,
yeah.
experience in a lot of different areas, and you're just proving that, yes, you can be a working singer and it can work.
Mhm.
So I'd love to talk a little bit about this, like, experience writing for clients in house music. Or was it on Sound Better? I know you're on there, but how did that experience of you moving into this direction come about?
I it was through Sound Better. Actually, it started with me taking a production course.
Cool.
And the singer who and producer who created the course, Chris Bradley,
Mm,
um, does that herself. She is a session singer and producer, and that was one of the platforms that she encouraged these
mhm,
students to join and kind of market themselves on Sound Better and air gigs mainly. And so I was made aware of them through that. And, I was just kind of
mhm.
learning how to produce myself, like how to record myself first. And it took me a long time to even like feel confident or have the bravery, the courage
Yep.
to, try to do that. And so it was through that course.
Mm.
And by the way, I really feel like, we as singers should completely get into production and learn
Yes.
how to,
Oh,
demo our songs, even just
yeah.
doing something simple,
Mhm.
putting together some drum loops and some keyboards and just getting it all squared up and timed well and, putting your vocal over it, like demoing your
Mhm.
songs,
Mhm.
just as an aside, but it's really empowering. And, I know a lot of us do write, and we've possibly spent a lot of time waiting for people to get things to us, or we've got to spend goo gobs of money
Yes.
to get ourselves recorded, and it can be money well spent, but there's a
Mhm.
lot you can figure out on your own, maybe, but prior to getting to you know um the studio. There's a lot of
Mhm.
pre-production you can do on your own. And, you could also communicate better with whatever producer you're working with. If you've got
Mm.
more insight into what their process is,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know, um, that's just kind of an aside, but it's definitely a way for us to empower ourselves. I do think, it is challenging. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing to learn, but there's so many great courses like Produce Like a Boss with Chris Bradley, Make Pop Music, has a lot of great, they've got a paid course, but they've got a lot of great, free YouTubes, and the
Oh,
teacher
nice.
is very good. It's a really
I'm
good
writing
teacher.
all these down. You can
Oh,
see. It's like, "Do-do-do-do."
there you go.
Love
Um,
that.
yeah, fun. Yeah, it was interesting that I was thinking as I was watching the Make Pop Music course, I was thinking, this guy's a really good teacher. And then I saw an interview with him, and he talked about like the fact that he'd had teacher training. He was going to go into teaching full time, and so
Ah.
everything's really well laid out. He explains things very
Mhm.
well. But these are things we can understand.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I have thought to myself, make the decision to understand something about
Mhm.
the thing you're about to study. Like, don't
Mm.
just assume you're not going to understand anything. You'll understand something, and then the next time you visit, that topic, you'll understand something else, and that's how we
Mhm.
build on knowledge. I mean, I didn't
Mhm.
suddenly start taking voice lessons and then end up with this, exceedingly mature voice that I have now. It took
Right?
time. I took
Yeah.
took lessons, and I did
Yeah.
gigs, and some went great and some were terrible. And then you have to come away and like think about it, think about how you're going to do things differently. So anyway, I feel like I'm wandering, but
No,
um,
you're doing it great. I'm following you. Yep. It's wonderful. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's something that I do mention to my students. Like, I'm telling you things right now. We're in this voice lesson, and I'm saying things to you right now,
Mhm.
and I will tell you what my experience was in voice lessons. Is there are things that didn't make a lot of sense to me, or made
Mhm.
a little bit of sense to me like
Mhm.
10 years ago. And
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden I had a light bulb moment. Oh, that's what my coach was talking about. Oh, like you just have to like go through it. You can't rush knowledge or really, you know, control how you're going to absorb something. I don't
Yeah.
know. So,
Yeah. You have to go through
yeah.
it. Yeah, you have to experience it. Yeah, for sure. And I love that you brought up like that taking that jump into the recording production. I mean, yeah, as a working singer, that frees up a lot for you to be able to do. You could be
Mhm.
mixing and, recording and mixing your own vocals and popping them up on the platforms. And you don't need to wait for anybody else's schedule or find the
Mhm.
funds to pay somebody. So
Mhm.
it really, and you're right. At first, it may feel very overwhelming. We just talked to Kamara about this, but eventually it starts making sense. And
Yeah.
it's actually a lot simpler than you might think. Because I'm going through this
Mhm.
process right now. I'm trying to learn how to create a vocal template, and I've been watching your videos of how to organize the files and all this kind of
Oh,
cool
nice.
stuff. And yeah, it's super helpful.
Good.
And what I like is seeing other women doing this. And no offense to the
Mhm.
men, I think you guys are fab. And I don't see a lot of people that I resonate with as a female doing this kind of work in the space. So
Mm.
that's where social media has been phenomenal because you
Mhm.
start to see yourself in the career and start to see like maybe I can do this. And
Yeah.
that's just a special thing. So thank you for all your videos is the long way around what I'm trying to
Oh,
try to say there. Uh,
you're
I
welcome.
like that you brought up vocal coaching because I really want to talk to you about this. And but what I want to know for sure is your vocal routine when you have a heavy recording day or a touring day. Are they the same, different? Is it, what's your warm up look like or your ritual? What does that look like for you?
Um, let's see. If I especially have myself together, uh,
The perfect day.
the perfect day. I have like what year is this? This is 2024. I have a
Yeah.
16-year-old,
Amazing.
um, a
Amazing.
16-year-old vocal MP3 that I've been
Great.
using, and it was actually my first lesson in belt and mix that I got from a vocal coach. It was the first time he introduced me to belting exercises, and I still use it to
Right?
this day.
So
Yes,
good.
I know. And it
Ah.
gets me completely opened up the way I like, the way I like to feel, and
Mhm.
it gets everything engaged just as I like.
Mhm.
I haven't done a like goo gabs of touring, but I have found it's very difficult. I don't know what other people's solution is for this, but it's kind of hard. It was hard on the road to find the space to warm up,
Mhm.
because if you're in a hotel, then everybody can hear you, and my
I know.
warm up is loud. I have a particularly loud one, and so there was that, and then there's, like, being at the venue. It's just, you just kinda wanna,
Yeah.
like, be alone when you do at least I
Bathrooms and
do.
stairwells, yep.
Yeah. Um, but anyway, yes, that's kind of I have a sort of a belting, exercise, that I did with a vocal coach a long time ago, and, I've got just a couple I still have, like, a ton of tapes back from, like, college. Hopefully,
Right?
they're even still playable. Who on earth knows?
Who knows?
But I've got a lot of, old lessons that I like to, just work out with,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
just and as far as ritual, yeah, so it'd be a workout. It is, if I'm really on top of it, I've got my vocal mist with me.
Mhm.
Um, that thing is excellent. That thing is so wonderful.
Vocal mist, alright.
And it's a
Cool.
nebulizer for,
Yeah.
people who don't know, and I've never even really been one to use many tools. I come from,
Yeah.
like, this gargle saltwater generation maybe, but,
Mhm. Mhm.
recently, I've maybe within the last 5 years, I've started, using tools, and I gotta say, man, even, without a warm up, it gets because basically it gets this certain kind of saline. It gets it directly to your cords, so you don't
Mm.
have to, drinking water. Yes, keep drinking your water. That's
Yes.
important.
It's never gonna
But
stop being a thing, so
yes, your body, you need to replace the water you're losing.
Mhm.
But it's not water. It's a I can't remember, isotonic saline or something like that.
That sounds familiar, yep.
It sends it directly to the cords, so you don't have to wait because if you're dehydrated, it's going to take a really long time to actually get hydrated. So, we should know that if I'm dehydrated today and I
Mhm.
have to sing today, then I'm basically going to sing dehydrated.
Mhm, mhm.
So, but that, little device, it just gets the hydration directly to the cores, and it is smooth, like, it's butter. I've gotta say,
I'm
it's
gonna
like
get
a
one now.
yes.
I'm gonna go
Use
Amazon.
my use my link, everybody.
Oh, okay,
But,
use Usual's link,
I do
okay.
have I'll find the link. I don't know if I
Okay,
can
yeah, share it, yeah, for
put it
sure, why not?
up
Oh my
here.
goodness.
But yeah, it's really like it's like pretty much the only thing I'm endorsing at this. I don't know if it's endorsement, but I have an affiliate link with them, and
Mhm.
it's pretty much the only thing I
Mhm.
kind of get behind at the moment because I've had such fantastic results with it. Actually, like one very specific story.
Yeah, I love
I'm
stories.
pulling up the link and the
Yep, thank
code
you.
is I put in the link, and the code is the working singer in case there's something funny going on with the link.
Awesome.
Let me find you again. Okay. Um, now, where would I put a link? It's it.
Let's on the
At
side, on the
first.
right-hand side is a chat menu, hopefully, and if not,
Wait a
just send
minute.
it to me in my private
Looking up
chat at the bottom of the screen, and I will post it for you.
here. I'll put it in the
Da-da-da-da.
put this in the private chat, and the
I'll overlay
code
this.
just in case
Okay, here we
is
go.
the working singer in all caps.
Okay, so I'm going to be
Uh,
posting this now. Do, 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 do. There we go, and it's on the
all
screen.
right.
Okay, so it's real.
Yeah.
It's happened.
There it
Okay,
is.
everybody go get one, and in
That
addition,
one.
drink your water and take good care of yourself. It's not a
Yes.
replacement for
It absolutely, yes. That is not it's not a replacement for taking care of yourself or learning how to sing
Yes.
or anything like that.
You got it, you got it.
But
Yeah.
man, this very specific story is having been in quarantine for a really long
Mm.
time. You know,
Mhm.
I have my husband here, obviously, but you know, we just kind of grunt at each other and didn't talk much. I'm just joking. But I didn't sing much. It didn't get it. It's
Yeah,
nice
I
that
know.
my voice got so
No.
much rest, but it was too much rest
Mhm.
because by the time I was singing again, it was just like very, I
Uh-huh.
had to like really get it back in
Mhm.
shape. And I gotta say, like, you know, just doing the vocal exercises alone was good. But once I added in the nebulizer, it was like, it was back, baby. It was, that's all. Okay.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, and we know how we, you know, we know how we like we want to feel, you know, when you're
Mhm.
singing well, you can
Mhm.
feel that everything's flexible. And, you know, I think a well hydrated set of chords will just do what you want, you know,
Oh,
that's,
so good. It's the
um,
secret. Otherwise, it feels like the chain's fallen off your bicycle and you're trying to go up the
exactly.
hill and you're like, "God damn, this is hard."
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
like, what's happening?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah. I'm appreciative of you sharing that story, and I love that. Uh, there's so many places I wanna go, and I think I say that every single interview I do because I'm so inquisitive. But, you talked very, very openly about panic attacks and anxiety, and I feel like this is
Mm.
so, so, so important. Um, I would love to know more. I mean, first, thank you for being vulnerable and sharing that with the world. Second of all, I would love to share your story around this and how you have managed to come through and either, I mean, I don't think there's another side, but let's just say made peace with this part of the journey.
Yeah. You know, the first thing that comes to my mind is just, and I don't know, I'm not a therapist or anything like that, but
Mhm,
it's kind of like nervous system dysregulation, which like
mhm.
up until a couple of years ago wasn't even talked about, at
Really?
least like not, you know,
No,
not widely or
no.
anything. But, you know, for me, I think I was just very dysregulated for a very long time and I didn't
Mhm,
realize it, you know.
mhm,
And as I think about my response to certain things, I'm just like, wow, yikes.
mhm,
You know, not as a judgment, but just like, wow. And I have a lot of
mhm,
compassion for myself. Um, because I didn't understand what was happening. But you know, I will say I at the beginning of, you know, our whole COVID thing,
mhm.
being quarantined and all of that, that's probably where it like really started to hit me, uh, that I had some stuff going on. And um, one very specific moment where I realized I really needed to deal with everything, or that there was even something to really deal with,
Mhm.
was that weekend in March where everybody was just like, all right, we're locking down. And up until then, actually, it was like a pretty good year for me. And I was working a lot.
Wow.
And, you know, I was starting to teach more. And, you know, things were locking in a different way. I was kind of having a shift into teaching, and that was really nice. And I was doing a lot of background extra work and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And so I kind of had my head down, and I'd vaguely heard that there was a disease going around,
Yes, right?
but I
Because 'Cause you're
really
so
wasn't.
busy, you're like, "What?
I was
Who?
not.
Where?" Uh-huh.
Wasn't watching the news. Wasn't
Yeah,
really, you know. It's just kind of
yeah.
like would vaguely say stuff to. I don't know what was going on, but just kind of like vaguely say stuff to my husband or whatever. And I kind of remember that weekend. You know, the neighbors were like, "It's happening." I'm like, "What's happening?"
That was me too. Yeah.
Just
I
like,
so
but
out
then
of the loop.
oh god. So then, you know, I had to like go to the just how like disconnected and like very, you know, I guess self-centered and focused, you know, but it was just
Mhm.
really like, you know, um, out of it. I was and went to the store. Everybody's freaking out, running around.
Mhm.
Lines are going out the door. There's like no food,
No, no toilet paper either.
no toilet. Yeah, everybody's
What the
yeah. There's no
fuck?
toilet paper, y'all.
Woohoo.
um, People went nuts about the toilet paper. But yeah, it was just like it really started to hit me. I don't know. So it started to
Mhm.
hit me walking in there. Maybe how disconnected I was. Maybe that the world was falling apart, and felt like I was spinning, and I had wasn't really had the hardest time catching my breath,
Mm.
and I really had to pull myself together, and it just took a while. I
Mhm.
had to sit there for a while. And my husband happened to not be home that weekend. Actually, he was
Mm.
working away from home. So um that was, just kind of like what led me down the path to like finding a therapist and dealing with some issues. I know for a lot of people too, I've had this conversation like over and over.
Mhm.
People jumped off the hamster wheel that they were on. I've said that about myself. I felt like I was on one, just
Mhm.
kind of on a hamster wheel, like while simultaneously like ramming my head against a wall, because there are like
Right?
a lot of things that I was doing that weren't working, weren't really serving me.
Mhm.
And, you know, uh, so it's kind of been a path and a journey. I've just kind of found, into therapy and other means, some writing exercises and things like that, to kind of help myself and accept what is before me, kind of be present and all of that
Mhm.
kind of thing. Maybe let go of some egoic stuff,
Mhm. Yeah.
um, and that definitely wasn't serving. And I stopped my podcast for a while because I really just didn't even feel like doing that. I didn't,
Yeah. Mhm.
or much of anything else. And, you know, yeah, just also somehow developed, I don't know, some friendships got stronger and others fell away,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, some work situations fell away,
Mhm.
um, that I think needed to, and others came into my life. And, you know, um, so it's just been a kind of a journey. My first show back as the Working Singer podcast, I did talk a bit about that.
Mhm.
And I had like maybe a vulnerability hangover. Like, what did I say? Did
Isn't
I
that
just say that?
amazing? Don't you love that part? You're like,
I know.
"Shit, why did I say that?" And then you watch it back later, later, later and go, "It's fine. What the heck? What was I thinking? What?"
Yeah, exactly. So,
Oh.
you know, yeah, it's I don't know. For me, it was needed. It's a very hard time in the world. It still is.
Mhm.
Um, but I think, for me, that there was just some very necessary things to go through.
Mhm.
Um,
And that
and
inventory, taking that inventory on, "All right, now that the slate has completely cleaned
yeah,
and cleared, pardon me, what do I wanna put back in the schedule?" Because, yeah, some things weren't serving you, and even the things that were, sometimes we just need to stop everything and take a look and just see what is actually making us feel expansive and what's contracting. And that's a big one for,
mm,
I know you have singers that you coach, and a lot of them, like making time for singing is something that's very, very hard to do because they've said yes to all these obligatory things that maybe they don't want to be doing. Right?
yeah,
So it's a really good, lesson to take that inventory more often. At least that's what I pulled from COVID and that time
yeah.
is just really getting honest with it. So I'm curious where, the demo singing and was that before, COVID hit, or were you was that an afterwards thought of going on Sound Better and things like that and pursuing that line of work?
It was after COVID
Cool.
hit, and I ended
Yeah.
up taking that course.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, I was like, well, I got all this, time on
Yeah.
my hands.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, so that certainly is a journey.
That was so cool, and what a gift to be able to like, okay, like, now I have time to take a production course, and I'm actually I mean, as singers, a lot of our gigging or pay is dependent on showing up somewhere to a place, right? But in this
Mhm.
case, it's not. You can be at home, and I mean, yeah, we still need to get out because I spend a lot of time in this room, so we still need to get out. But it's great that we have that. We can take that control back of our careers and not have to be dependent to show up to a certain place to gig. We can make
Yeah.
money from demoing or teaching online. I know for me, I
Mhm.
wasn't teaching online at all until that time when it was like, "Oh god, well, if I
Same.
don't teach online, I can't teach at all."
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what a crazy time,
Absolutely.
and yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Go
you
for it.
just had Chimera on,
Yeah.
and, you know, she's somebody who's like, I had her on my show a few months ago, and
Mhm.
if anybody wants to catch it, it's on my channel, but,
Mhm.
you know, certainly as somebody who creates their own opportunities, and, that's been on my mind. She's, like, really inspired me to start selling acapellas and, you
Right?
know, start, selling sample packs of my voice, you know, just kinda do the stuff that I get hired to do already, you know?
Mhm.
There's a lot of, house producers who are looking for all kinds of royalty-free vocal samples, you know, and,
Mhm.
I just actually I've done nothing to market it. Let's call this now. I'm marketing it right now.
Yay!
It's
Go ahead and
available on
mark
my
it.
site. It's available on my website. The first pack is free, and then the rest will be paid ones, but I wanted to make sort of a, you know,
Yeah.
free one to make available for producers, and, you know, I'm gonna start, selling acapellas as well, but you really do, you know, I think about this too, and I one of the recent shows that I did was about, you know, compare and despair. Actually, I think the
Mhm.
title of the show, I called it, "Are You the Mayor of Haterville?" Because, you know, some of us, look at what other
Mhm.
people are doing and
Mhm.
get immediately jealous and
Yep.
compare
Yep.
ourselves and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And I can't say I don't have, you know, twinges of jealousy, but I do think for me, it was always turned into, let me have, you know, in my more evolved moments, I'm thinking like, that must mean there's something there that I want.
Mhm.
And, you know, I haven't allowed myself to really get it yet.
Right? Mhm.
And, um, And so I have literally gone to people's, you know, social media and, like, went back to their very first post, and, like,
Yeah.
and been like, "I wanna see the whole evolution of this person," you know, it's maybe somebody I start off a little bit jealous of. Because I
Yeah.
know the thing that I've noticed is that people get jealous and they don't do anything to, like, I don't know, dig and
Yeah.
educate themselves as to why this person has what
Mhm.
they have, you know?
Mhm.
It didn't, and for the people I'm thinking of, it didn't suddenly overnight. They just got success. They went in and switched something up. You know, they changed
Mhm.
their minds. They changed how they
Mhm.
do things. And, you know, and, you know, what people I'm thinking about specifically, uh, turned around and decided they were gonna, like, serve other people, other producers, other singers, and
Mm.
or other voice teachers, and, you know, the world responded to that because I think, you know, we're all going online, we're all going on to social media,
Yeah.
we're going on to
Yeah.
YouTube, f mainly, I think, to get help with stuff, either to get entertained or to find out the answer to a question that we have.
Exactly. Edutained. That's what the phrase
Edutained.
edutained. That's what
Are
I
you
do.
edutained? So, you know, I think, you know, in that episode, I was just talking about, like, get curious about, did I say this? Maybe I didn't, but I do think, you know, I'll say it now, get curious
Yep.
about the people you're jealous of, because I think it is such a block to just sit
Mhm.
there and stew and,
Mhm.
you know, think they've gotten everything handed to them. I think it's a rare person who gets that, you know, who has that happen. I think everybody
Mhm.
else, including you and me,
Yep.
have to, you know, figure it out and create
Mhm.
our own opportunities and build that product, build the studio, virtual or physical, whatever, and,
Mhm.
you know, put out the bait for people and
Mhm.
show up and serve. So, you know,
Mhm.
that's just kind of been on
Yeah.
my mind lately.
It's such a good one, and when you go and look at those people you're jealous of, you can usually find the steps that they took because they're
Yes.
documenting it on their channel, and I think that was what you already said, but I'm gonna just reiterate that one.
Right.
Like, there are steps you can take to have that thing.
Mhm.
And for me, I know as a singer, I've shied away from production and recording, as I mentioned, and I was, what you're jealous of and what you're frustrated by. Because I was like,
Yes.
I was trying to explain. I work with my husband. I was trying to explain to him what kind of vocal sound I wanted for the effects, and I'm using these words, and I don't know the actual lingo. And he's trying his best, and we're getting
Mhm.
frustrated and fighting. And it's like, oh, okay. I need to learn the lingo. I need to learn better about what the effects are. Cool. That just pointed me in a new direction of something to do. And since I've started digging in, I'm having the best time because the
Nice.
frustration's not there and I'm learning new things and I'm showing myself I'm capable of more. It's a really great
Yeah.
experience, right? It's just,
Yes.
can do this with anything. Yay, yay us. My ne my next question for you is you wear a lot of hats. Like you do the podcast, you do the teaching, you do the demo singing, you do producing, songwriting, blah 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 blah. The list goes on and on. How do you balance it all? And what does your week look like? Is it a singing day and a teaching day and a give us a glimpse.
Jill, it's a mess.
I know,
But
me
yes,
too.
it's I have gotten better though.
Yeah.
And I'd kind of made the decision, and I'll mention her one more time and then I'll stop talking about her. But I
Oh, we're
do
gonna
really
talk about her.
like
Yeah.
I do really like, Kamira and her channel
Mhm.
because she
I do too.
just did a show about this. I don't You might have watched it too. She talked about like how she schedules things
The
and the fact that
process cycling.
yes,
We just talked
yes.
about it this morning.
Yes, and I was just like, "Thank you so much," because she was just like, "I can't really follow a schedule. I just do it like, this." And
Mhm.
I was like, "Yes, I can't really follow one either. Like, I
Mm-mm.
can't do that. I just"
Mm-mm.
when I was in my 20s, it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine, and, you know, we were both saying, like, when we were in our 20s, I don't know what was going on with me, but I was really able to do that. Like, I I could put something on a schedule
Right?
and do it, and
Yeah,
no
yeah.
question, nothing, and now it's just like, it's not happening.
No.
It may but, it's yeah, I've just been able to, like, I'll say, like, this very specific episode, she talked about, like, kind of having her plan, as far as, like, what she'd like to do. Maybe there's, like, a list of products she wants to work on.
Mhm.
Take that product. I'm gonna take, like, 3 to 5 days, and I'm gonna focus on making that product,
Mhm.
and then next. And that's kind of how I've been doing it lately, and that's really been, working out for
Oh,
me, just, like,
so much
deciding which
better.
product next. Yeah, and then, also determining it by, like, somebody currently paying me to do something right now that I need to get done,
Right. That
you
just pops
know?
up and it has
Yeah.
to be done
It
sometimes, right?
it must be done, or if it's a product list, it's like, what will make me money faster?
Yeah.
What's long game money,
Yeah.
and what is like,
Yeah. Yeah.
something that I can just, like, put up on the website. It's maybe, I just, updated a couple of services that I provide on my website, and, so, just kinda operating like that, and having
Mhm.
watched her episode, like, it made me feel so much better because, she was just like, she didn't say that, I don't think she said it specifically, but she's kinda, like, messy about it, like,
Mhm.
it gets done.
Mhm. Mhm.
At the end of the day, it does get done, but there's just an allotted amount of time, like, I know this is gonna take 3 days. My first vocal sample pack, which I just, put up on my website, jamilaford.com.
Yay,
Um,
congrats.
thank you. It took a few weeks, but it needed to take a few weeks. It was my first one, and I needed some people to listen to my files and make sure they were, like, sounding the way they needed to sound, because it's ultimately going to be a representation of what it's like to work with me. That's how I'm thinking of it. And so uh, you know, just kind of having patience with the process too. Like, I had to
Mhm.
tell myself, this is your first time making something like this. So,
Right?
you know,
That
be
self-compassion is huge. It's
yes,
huge.
be nice to yourself
Right.
and but finish, please do finish. So,
Yeah.
you know, I finished that. I want to work on some acapellas, but it, you know, it also like helped me, strengthen some things about my own sort of recording process and, you know, being patient, really checking everything before I make it available, you know, 'cause there's really no sense in rushing around and being a headless chicken and being
It doesn't work.
intense.
It
Yeah,
just doesn't work.
it doesn't. The intensity just, you know, doesn't get me anywhere. So,
No.
yeah, when I calmed down and I was just like, let me just commit myself to this process and make a really good product for people. You know, don't discount it because it's free. You know, it's you know, something that I'm showing you that I can do this for you, something you'd want to pay me to do for you,
Right?
or
It's a sample.
whatever.
You go to
It is
Starbucks and they give
simple.
you a sample of the
Yeah.
drinks that they want you to buy. But you need
Yeah.
to try it first to know, "Oh, I like that actually. I'm gonna
Yeah.
buy that next time, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
buy it right now."
Absolutely.
It's smart. It's really smart. This process cycling has really got me thinking because I'm one that's like dates and but I overload and my deadlines are superhuman. I'm great at them. I know what's first, second, third, and fourth, and I'm always on target, but I'm moving them constantly forward.
Yeah.
And then underneath, you feel this kind of like ugh feeling because you keep moving
Mhm.
your deadlines forward because you keep overscheduling yourself. I love the 3 to 5 days. That feels like a breath of fresh air. 3 to 5. If it takes you 5, fine. If it takes you 3, great. Move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So much better.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
read you my
definitely.
agenda. What's
Yeah,
next? That's
I
Monday.
love it. Yeah, because it just takes
Oh,
the overwhelm. For me, it has taken the
oh,
overwhelm out. And the
right,
sample pack, you know, it did I wanted 2 weeks for that. It ended up, like, taking, I think, a month or something because I had to, you
right.
know, but I wanted to make sure I was doing things right, and I wanted
Mhm.
to research a little bit more. I was trying to understand certain things, and then I had to figure out, like, exactly where I was gonna sell it and, oh, but not sell it, but make it available, and I didn't want to, I mean, this has been another thing for me. I just, like, did not want to, get another subscription, you know? I wanted to, like, make it available and not have to, like, pay to make it available. Right, but,
Mhm.
you know, so I was like, "How can I use what I have?" And then I have my website through Bandzoogle, and I kind of figured out how to
Mm.
do it through there.
Smart.
So,
Smart.
yeah, guys, I mean, if you are using Bandzoogle or you're not, you
Mhm.
know, I don't have a link for that, but,
I don't even
um
know what Bandzoogle is. I'm gonna have
What?
to I
Ooh,
don't. I have
oh
no
my
idea what we're talking
gosh.
about now.
Yes,
Bandzoogle. It's a thing. I'm
Bandzoogle.
totally, like, creeping on Google while
Yes.
I'm hosting a podcast. What
Yeah.
in the heck? Professional.
You know, it used to be
Bandzoogle.
They
Huh.
took over Host Baby because I used to have this site mine through Host Baby,
Oh.
and Host Baby is no more, but they turn to Bandzoogle, or they just kinda gave their
Hmm.
platform to Bandzoogle or whatever, and,
It's super cool.
you can design your own website. You've got complete control over it. And, the challenge that I had had with selling my sample pack was, you
Wow.
know, making it available for a download, which you can do, but also
Mhm.
having a way that people can listen to it before they download it.
Mm.
So I figured out how to do that and kind of make it
Mhm.
look, you know, make it look good. Um, but yes, uh,
Wow.
you know, I already have the subscription. I'm like, I do not need another subscription. So like, you know, yeah, I figured that out. It's good.
Well, thank you for sharing that because I mean
Yeah.
the things that in our own lives we take for granted, we're like, oh yeah, everybody knows about this. Some of us, like me, never heard of Bandzoogle. So this is really neat to have these
Yeah.
conversations and just be like, "Duh." Sometimes you get those little nuggets and you take them forward. Process cycling and
Absolutely.
Bandzoogle. I'm taking that forward. I'm taking lots
Yeah.
forward, but those two things specifically. Oh, and the
Absolutely.
voice, the vocal mist. I'm taking that one forward too.
Oh,
That's
vocal
we can't
mist, yeah.
forget about that one.
Yes.
You I mean, there's so much. We have 10 minutes. Can you believe it? So maybe you're like, "Oh, good God, yes."
Oh,
But,
no, I'm having fun.
um, so your backing vocalist experiences, I mean, it reads as a who's who of the music industry right now. So, um, are there some fun stories? I mean, you worked with Leon Bridges, Mavis Staples, Seal, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. What are there some fun stories about whether, how you got ready and prepared for the very first time for an artist like that, or some funny road
Hmm.
stories? I'm just gonna throw it out. We're just gonna dealer's
I
choice.
just, you know, the first thing that comes to my mind is there are good stories, but I do think like, uh the way that those situations came about was like so unexpected and like kind of out of nowhere, you know.
Cool.
Um, like for instance, like Spiritualized, that happened when I was in college, and
Mm.
they were playing Coachella. It was the first Coachella. They were playing the first Coachella, and they needed a choir to perform on stage with
Mm.
them. So
Mhm.
their manager like found the choir director at my school. I was like in the chamber choir at school, and she asked like 6 of us, to be in this like choir that they put together for their Coachella um, performance. And
Wow.
yeah, so that was a really cool experience. I just remember like going
Mhm.
out there with my car and how like dirty my car got. Like that's what I remember.
That's what you
Um,
took away from it. My car was so dirty.
Supremely dirty. That's the dirtiest it's ever been. But that was a really interesting, cool experience. That was really kind of my first big gig. I didn't know who Spiritualized was, so
Mhm.
but so that was really cool. And a lot of things were just you know uh kind of one-offs, and I was just kind of asked to by somebody who kind of people who I've had on the show have kind of asked me to
Mhm.
do stuff. And
Mhm.
um you know I um I'll say like those things were kind of unexpected as well, and
Mhm.
really really great experiences. I'm trying to think of the I got to perform the well I got to perform at a what is it, kind of an honor, a what is it, a ceremony to honor Dolly Parton is what I'm trying to
Oh,
say. I can't think.
wow. That's freaking
And
amazing.
I got to be a part of a choir that did that, and I think she's so marvelous,
She's
and
so good. She's
such a
such a nice
lovely
person.
such
It
a
just
lovely human.
radiates.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Oh.
that was really awesome. And the time that I got to perform on stage with Seal was really cool. It was actually a tribute to David Bowie, and
Wild.
yeah, and it
Wow.
was his I guess original band was a part of the tribute. And it was
Mm.
just a really amazing uh, experience, put on by a friend of mine, Angelo Bundini. And he just gets these really incredible artists to be a part of a part of these things. And Seal performed, and
Oh,
like 3 of us sang background for him. And wow, when I think owning your stage, my God,
him?
he was just really like, yes. I was just, and it's funny because you see pictures of all of us on stage or whatever. I saw pictures later, and I was just like, or you see a picture of me just like looking at him, like really studying
I would
him.
be too. Like, what is happening over there? It's
I was just
magnetic.
staring at this man because he really just like, stage is mine now. I mean, it was such
Oh,
an incredible
wow.
experience. And then, tour with Melody Gardot. I'd love to do more touring. That's like the most like actual extensive touring I've done. And we did that for
Mhm.
several months. And, toured as a background singer with her, but, became really good friends with my fellow singer, my fellow background singer, who's Celia Chavez. I don't know if you guys know each other.
No, but
Um,
I'm writing her down too.
yes, you should talk to her. She's got
She's
stuff
all
going on.
done. I'm done and done.
Yeah,
Celia, I'm coming for you.
yeah, she's wonderful, and we've been friends for a long time. We talk all the time. We spoke this morning. We talked yesterday. She's
Oh,
just like so
nice.
wonderful, and
Oh.
just one of those really great, genuine friendships where you've just been helped spiritually. You kind of support each other in
Mhm.
that way. So healthy. God, what a great friendship. But
Mm.
that came out of that tour. I made really great friends with my bandmates, and
Mhm.
that have just been really invaluable to me. So in a lot of ways. So,
I love that. It is community. Like you do need that. It's cool. Like we talked about doing the recording as a lone wolf, but eventually you need to branch out and find your people because
you
life
do.
is a little too bleak when you're just solo in a room by yourself all the time. You don't want to do
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. I get it. It's powerful. Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, we
Awesome.
certainly don't wanna isolate, so,
No.
I definitely I think I've said this on my show too, like a big isolator. I do like my own company, but it's it's important to, you know
Me too.
I like to be at home and clean and, like, nest and all that kind of
Oh,
thing,
nesting is my
but
yeah, that's my
yeah,
thing too. Mhm.
but,
Mhm. Yeah.
it's important to have community and, and genuine friendships, I
Mhm.
know that we talk about networking in this business,
Mhm.
but I think about networking like, people do hire their friends ultimately, people
Sure.
that they trust and
Yeah, they
stuff
know
like
them.
that,
Mhm.
and, just, like, become friends with people,
Yeah.
it's, it's just like you don't have to like deal with anybody you don't really like or hire somebody you don't like or
Uh-huh.
anything like that, you can be genuine friends.
Mhm.
And I know that that they say that's not possible really in this business, but it is, I think it's,
You
I
and, you just, described your friend from the tour with so, yeah,
yeah.
it happens, it's real, it can happen. As
Oh,
long as everybody's
absolutely.
putting their most authentic best self out there, it'll happen. You
Yeah,
can't help but attract people in that way. Yeah,
absolutely. Be
loving that.
genuine. So,
Yep, genuine, that's the word. Um, oh, 3 minutes. You're, just a gem. Thank you for
aw.
being you in this world, and my last question is, tell us what you have coming up, and, if there's any courses or anything you wanna plug, maybe there's something on the podcast coming up. The floor is yours. Tell us where we should go and what we should do.
Yes. Let's see. I do vocal coaching. So if you would like to work with me, please come to my website, jamilaford.com. I've got all my offerings there. I
That's
do,
somewhere. Check this out.
you can also send in a video to me. I will give you video feedback,
That's great.
we do that. And I record custom vocals if you ever need custom vocals for yourself. I've got my sample packs and all these things. So sign up
Mhm.
on my newsletter, and I
Oh,
will.
yeah.
That's how you can keep up with me.
Yep.
That's all. Everything's on the website.
Mhm.
I'm on Instagram regularly. My handle is LibraCat Music.
Yeah, I saw that, that's
You
so
can.
cute. Was that your cat we saw? I saw a tail earlier,
Oh
and I meant to be like, "Oh,
yes.
cute."
Oh yeah, that's Bijou.
Excellent,
So,
excellent.
yeah, and I'm building my YouTube channel. I'm just kind of like on
Yeah.
there talking about what I'm doing.
Mhm.
I'm about to post a video. Well, I'm going to film it this weekend and post a
Nice.
video about making my sample pack and just kind of show you what I did.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
if I've really got myself together, I want to, kind of help people get, organized with that. I love Notion. I don't want to take up
Mm.
more time talking about how much I
How much you
love
love Notion.
Notion. I cannot even tell you. It
I
has
am not
changed.
on Notion, so there's another one I'm taking away, and I'm gonna Google it now
If
just to
we
make
have
sure I
it, I mean,
remember.
if there is an app that exists to keep you organized that you can actually get me to sign into every day, because it's
Seriously?
yeah,
Okay.
it's web based, so you can get on your laptop or on your phone or on your iPad, and
Oh.
I love it. You can do lists within lists. You can
Oh my god, you had me
anyway,
at lists.
girl, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Is this
I
like Asana and, Trello and all those, or is it
I
more?
feel
Is
like
it
it's different. I feel like it's a bit for my
Oh,
brain, it just works
okay.
better. I have tried others.
Yep.
Um, for
Mhm.
my brain, it just works, but you
Okay.
can, yeah.
Yep.
So
I'm into that. Okay.
yeah, let me
Done.
know what you think. But yeah, I would like to if in perfect universe that that'll be my I don't know, my free thing available once the once I
Excellent.
posted the video is showing, giving you my Notion template. So
Oh boy,
you
I'm
know,
excited for that one. I
yeah.
love organizing, so I'm very excited about that one.
Oh my God. So
Amazing. Well, you know what? I hate to say goodbye to you, but I want to be
oh,
mindful of your time. So
thank
I'm
you.
going to let you go. You can wait in the wings or you can head off to your fabulous day. And thank you so much, Jamila. This has been phenomenal. We're going to have a part 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 just on Notion. Uh,
We need one on Notion.
we'll get there. We'll get there. We just have to
Yes.
breathe. All right, my dear. Thank you so much again.
Okay.
It's been fabulous.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.
Please go and visit her on her website and get all of her cool things and check out all the things that she okay, what do I have written down? Process cycling, we talked about that again. The production courses, Make Pop Music, Chris Bradley, The Vocal Mist, Notion, Camila's Jamila Camila, I just said because I put Chimera and Jamila together into one word. That should be a thing though. It should be. It will be now that I've started it. You're just fabulous, and thank you for all your wisdom today, and for the courage to acknowledge that you don't have it all figured out. We all have our anxieties and things that we're working through, and I feel like it's so important to talk about because that's the stuff that dysregulates the nervous system, that has our voice show up in ways that we feel like we don't have control of, or it's just not what we want to be making or doing or saying. So thank you for sharing your story. And for everybody else, you can check up on our podcast, or YouTube is probably the most accurate schedule. So check out there, and we've got lots of shows coming up. I will let you just find them on your own and see what you think. We got Carrie Cole coming up, vocal coach Carrie Cole. Brendan Hudak, blah, blah, Hodak is what I'm trying to say. Oh my God, more coffee. Two toddlers at home, more coffee. Brendan Hodak is coming on the show, and he's with New York Vocal Coaching, and much, much, much more. So check that out. Until next time, have the very best, most musical, most vocal, most whatever written